guys, and welcome back to Building a House in California. So today I wanted to create this video to talk to you guys about what I thought was going to be the easiest part of construction, the painting. I thought it was going to be the easiest thing. Turns out it ended up being the most frustrating and the hardest part of building our house. So let me talk to you a little bit about why that was. So first of all, I mentioned this in my last video that was all about sheetrock. So when the sheetrocker comes in, they make a mess. They make a very big mess. And our sheetrockers, they cleaned up, and they did a really good job cleaning up all their mess right before they sprayed. Then they came in and they sprayed all the texture on the walls. And then what they do after that dries is they sand it. And that was the part where they did not clean up very good when they were finished. And I don't know whose job that typically is in new construction. I don't know if it's typically the sheetrocker's job to clean that up, or if you typically hire a cleanup crew to come in and do that, or if the painter typically cleans it up before the painter starts. All I know is that before our painter started, it did not get cleaned up well enough. So what that resulted in was when the painter sprayed his paint all over the house. This didn't really affect the walls so much because our trim wasn't up when he started painting, but it affected when he sprayed the doors, because our painter did not take the doors off, and that's another thing I'm going to mention. He didn't take the doors off when he painted. So what he did was he sprayed, and that sheetrock dust went and came up and left this like rough surface on the bottom of all of our doors. And then it also left a rough surface on the top of like our pantry shelving. So all of our pantry shelving is very rough, and when I try to go and clean it and spray it, like it'll catch on my rag when I'm cleaning. Not fun. Don't love that. It's actually very frustrating. We had the painter come back and fix a lot of it, like on the doors, but there's a lot of it that they did not fix. So right now it's just something we're dealing with. We'll probably have it fixed eventually, but very important. Also, what I would say is make sure your painter takes the doors off the hinges when they paint. So our painter did not, and I should have known better, because the first day I came, after they were like setting up and getting ready to paint and taping things off, I came in the house and I noticed that they had taped around all the hinges with painter's tape, like blue painter's tape, and then took a razor blade and cut around the hinges and peeled it off. And first of all, the razor blade, you can see like little marks around the hinges, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look too great. And then sure enough, when they came and they sprayed all the doors, it just went right through that painter's tape. That painter's tape didn't do hardly any good. So when the painters came back to fix, they had to, clean all that paint that they got off the hinges. And they look decent now, but they would look a lot better if they would have just taken the doors off and done it right from the start. So make sure you tell your painter, hey, let's make sure we get all this sheetrock dust cleaned up before we paint, and also I want the doors taken off the hinges and painted, not painted on the hinges. And that's just what I would recommend. I would recommend making those requests directly to your painter so that you don't have to go through some of the headaches that I had to go through. So color. So the color of the paint that we chose was white. So we went ahead and we decided to just do white on the entire house. That wasn't my original plan. My original plan was to do some type of tannish, grayish tone. But I went and picked out multiple swatches and brought them home and compared them to our cabinets and our countertops, and I just couldn't find one that I was just, yes, this is the color. So I talked to my sister and I was like, hey, maybe you can come and help me. And she was like, why don't you just do white? It's very farmhouse, it's very clean, you can add color to it. And so I was like, yeah, and you know what? That's what we did, and I'm really, really happy with the choice that we made. I like the white walls. It's a very clean look. And then cost-wise, it's very cost-effective, because if you do the ceiling and the walls the same color, and we did them the same color white, your cost goes down for the paint. We did change the texture or the type of paint that we used for the baseboards and the doors. We did like a semi-gloss, or like, it was a semi-gloss. And then for the walls, we did an eggshell, just because, you know, you don't want the semi-gloss on the walls. But yeah, it turned out really nice. We're really happy with the color. Unfortunately, you know, we did have to have the painters come back and fix a lot of things, like I talked about first. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much was our painting experience. Wasn't great. Was probably the most frustrating part of this whole construction process. So make sure you get a good recommendation on a good painter, and tell him those things. Even if you do have a good recommendation, you know, tell him that you want those doors taken off the hinges and that you want to make sure that sheetrock mess is very well cleaned up before you start painting. I'm just going to share with you guys a few videos I have of the paint, and you know, of what I'm talking about as far as those issues were that we had. So let me go ahead and share those with you.